There are moments in life when we feel compelled to justify our beliefs, explain our actions, or defend our values to others. Yet it is wise to discern to whom we speak and why. For not all who listen are seekers of truth, and not all who challenge us do so with honest hearts. Every person, whether they are aware of it or not, is engaged in two simultaneous battles, one within themselves and one with the world around them. These battles are not merely physical or material, but deeply spiritual and moral. The inner battle is the struggle to cultivate virtue, to choose what is right even when it is difficult, and to resist the pull of selfishness, pride, or despair. This struggle is universal, for no one is born immune to temptation or free from the flaws inherent in human nature. The outer battle, on the other hand, involves navigating a world where forces both seen and unseen seek to distort truth, sow discord, and undermine our moral clarity. These battles are interconnected. The victories we achieve within ourselves strengthen us against the challenges of the external world. Conversely, the defeats we suffer externally can weaken our resolve, making the inner struggle even more arduous. This is why it is so vital to recognize the nature of these conflicts and to understand that they are not merely personal but part of a larger cosmic drama. To live rightly, to pursue truth and goodness, is to stand against forces that oppose such virtues. These forces often manifest in subtle and insidious ways through cynicism, deceit, or even the seductive allure of apathy. One of the most dangerous deceptions is the idea that all who oppose us are external enemies. The truth is more nuanced. The greatest obstacles often come from within. Our fears, doubts, and insecurities can be far more effective tools of destruction than any adversary. When we allow these inner demons to rule, they shape how we perceive the world and interact with others. They can lead us to project our struggles onto those around us, mistaking friends for foes or attributing malice where there is none. At the same time, we must also be aware that others are engaged in their own inner battles. When someone speaks harshly, acts unjustly, or challenges our beliefs with hostility, it is often a reflection of their internal conflict rather than a direct attack on us. Understanding this does not mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does help us to approach such situations with wisdom rather than reactionary anger. It allows us to see beyond the surface and recognize the deeper struggle at play. This dual conflict demands that we be both compassionate and discerning. Compassion compels us to extend grace to others, knowing that they too are wrestling with unseen burdens. Discernment, however, reminds us not to compromise our values or expend our energy trying to explain ourselves to those who are not ready or willing to listen. To do so is to risk being drawn into their turmoil, losing sight of the higher purpose that guides us. The inner and outer battles are not meant to discourage us but to refine us. Through these struggles we grow stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with the truth. Every challenge is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to what is good and to become a light in a world often overshadowed by darkness. Evil rarely presents itself in obvious or grotesque forms. It prefers subtlety, appearing as something rational, justified, or even virtuous. This deceptive nature is one of its greatest weapons, for it allows harm to take root under the guise of reason or fairness. Recognizing this masked darkness in others is not merely an act of judgment, but one of discernment and necessary skill in navigating the complexities of human interaction. The forces that distort truth often work through individuals, not as their full identity, but as a part of their brokenness. These distortions, which we might call demons metaphorically, are not literal beings but manifestations of pride, envy, resentment, or fear. They operate in ways that confuse, manipulate, or obscure reality, often appealing to the ego or exploiting insecurities. These influences can take root in anyone, sometimes subtly and sometimes overtly, shaping their actions and words in ways that lead to conflict or destruction. When someone challenges you, mocks your values, or questions your integrity with hostility, it is rarely about you as an individual. Often these reactions stem from their inner struggles. A person dominated by pride may find it unbearable to accept another's humility. Someone consumed by envy may instinctively seek to diminish the light they see in others, and a heart filled with fear may lash out at anything that challenges its fragile defenses. These responses are not born of rational thought, but of internal chaos projected outward. The danger lies in how these projections can entangle us. If we fail to recognize the nature of such opposition, we may be drawn into fruitless arguments, defensive postures, or even self-doubt. This is precisely what the masked darkness seeks, to disrupt your clarity and divert your energy away from what truly matters. Engaging with these forces as though they are rational opponents gives them power. It allows their confusion to spread, creating an environment where truth becomes obscured and the original purpose of the conversation is lost. To recognize the mask of darkness, one must cultivate both self-awareness and spiritual vigilance. Self-awareness allows you to identify your own vulnerabilities, areas where pride, fear, or resentment might influence your perceptions. Vigilance enables you to see when these same distortions are at work in others, not to condemn them, but to approach with wisdom and care. When faced with hostility or manipulation, the wise response is not to counterattack, but to step back, assess the situation, and determine whether engagement is even fruitful. This discernment does not mean avoiding all conflict or refusing to stand for what is right. It means choosing your battles wisely and understanding that not every challenge deserves a response. Evil thrives on distraction and division. By refusing to be drawn into its games, you deny it the attention it craves. Instead, you focus your efforts on living truthfully and courageously, allowing your actions to speak louder than any argument. In this way, you become a witness to the truth, unshaken by the chaos around you. Recognizing the mask of darkness is not an act of condemnation, but a step toward greater clarity and purpose. It frees you from the need to constantly defend yourself, allowing you to stand firm in the light and extend compassion to those still lost in the shadows. Not every situation demands a response, and not every challenge is worthy of engagement. The subtle art of silence is a powerful tool in navigating conflicts and addressing opposition, particularly when faced with insincerity, manipulation, or outright hostility. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, avoidance, or indifference. However, true silence, when practiced with intention, is an act of strength and wisdom. It reflects discernment, self-control, and a refusal to squander energy on what does not deserve it. When faced with conflict, the natural impulse is often to respond immediately, to defend oneself, or to counter an argument. Yet not all challenges are made in good faith. Some are designed to provoke, confuse, or entangle you in fruitless debates. Others may arise from individuals who are not seeking understanding but are instead projecting their own inner struggles onto you. In these moments, words become futile, for no explanation or reasoning will satisfy those who have already chosen not to listen or understand. Engaging in such situations often serves only to amplify discord and drain your energy. Silence, by contrast, disarms. It denies hostility the reaction it seeks and robs manipulation of its power. It shifts the dynamics of interaction, placing you in control of your response and maintaining your integrity. Silence can communicate confidence, suggesting that your convictions are so solid they require no defense. It can also serve as a mirror, reflecting the emptiness of an argument or the insincerity of a challenge. In some cases, it compels the other party to confront their intentions, as they are left without the expected fuel to continue their attack. The art of silence is not merely the absence of words, but the presence of wisdom. It requires discernment to know when silence is appropriate and when speaking is necessary. There are times when truth must be spoken boldly, particularly when silence could be mistaken for acquiescence or when lives and principles are at stake. However, even in these moments, silence has its place, allowing you to listen, to understand fully, and to choose your words carefully. A response given from a place of calm reflection carries far more weight than one offered in haste or anger. Practicing silence also strengthens your inner life. It allows space for reflection, prayer, or meditation, grounding you in your values and reinforcing your connection to the deeper truths that guide you. In the noise and clamor of the world, silence becomes a sanctuary, a place where clarity can emerge and where you can hear the still, small voice of wisdom within. The subtle art of silence is not about avoidance, but about alignment. It is a refusal to let others dictate your responses or pull you away from your purpose. It is the recognition that some battles are not worth fighting, and that the most powerful statement you can make is sometimes the one left unsaid. In mastering silence, you not only preserve your peace, but also elevate your ability to respond meaningfully when the moment truly calls for it. Your soul is a treasure of immeasurable worth, containing your values, beliefs, and the core of your identity. It is the wellspring of your thoughts, choices, and actions, shaping how you interact with the world. Yet, like any treasure, it is vulnerable to theft, corrosion, or devaluation if not carefully guarded. The world is full of forces both external and internal that seek to undermine or exploit this treasure. Guarding your soul is not merely an act of self-preservation, but an acknowledgement of its sacred significance and the responsibility you bear to steward it well. To guard your soul, you must first understand what it means to protect something so intangible yet so essential. It begins with knowing your values and holding them as non-negotiable. These values act as a compass, guiding you through life's challenges and temptations. Without this firm grounding, you become susceptible to the shifting winds of opinion, compromise, or manipulation. Guarding your soul means standing firm in what you know to be true, even when doing so is unpopular or difficult. One of the most common threats to the soul is the temptation to seek validation from others at the cost of your integrity. This desire can lead you to explain yourself repeatedly, hoping to be understood or accepted. While there is a time and place for clarity and dialogue, constantly justifying your beliefs to those who are unwilling to respect them diminishes their value. It is like allowing a stranger to handle a rare and fragile artifact without understanding its worth. Your beliefs and values are not for endless scrutiny or dismissal by those who approach them with disdain or disinterest. Another threat comes from allowing bitterness, anger, or resentment to take root. These emotions, while often justified in the face of injustice or pain, can act like rust on the soul, eating away at its strength and beauty. Guarding your soul means recognizing these dangers and addressing them before they take hold. It requires forgiveness not as an act of weakness, but as an act of liberation, freeing yourself from the chains of negativity that others may try to impose on you. Guarding your soul also involves setting boundaries. Not everyone who enters your life deserves access to the deepest parts of your heart and mind. Some come with intentions to uplift and support, while others bring confusion, chaos, or harm. It is not unkind to establish limits on who you allow into your inner world. Rather, it is an act of wisdom. Protecting your soul ensures that you can continue to give of yourself authentically and generously without being drained or corrupted. To guard your soul is to recognize its divine origin and purpose. It is a gift entrusted to you, meant to reflect light, truth, and goodness in a world that often seeks to obscure them. By shielding it from harm and nurturing its growth, you honor not only yourself but also the greater calling to live a life of integrity and love. Your soul, well guarded, becomes a source of strength and inspiration, capable of withstanding the storms of life and shining as a beacon for others to follow. Light and darkness have always been powerful symbols of the battle between truth and falsehood, good and evil, clarity and confusion. The interplay between these forces is not just a literary device, but a profound reality of human experience. In this eternal struggle, it is vital to understand that light, by its very nature, is transformative and triumphant. It does not need to argue with darkness to prove its strength. It simply shines, and in doing so dispels the shadows. This principle carries profound wisdom for how we live and engage with a world often mired in conflict and misunderstanding. Darkness thrives on obscurity and confusion. It seeks to distort truth, sow division, and create doubt. It does not announce itself boldly, but lurks in subtleties, in the twisting of words, the erosion of moral boundaries, and the allure of cynicism. When confronted with such darkness, the instinctive reaction might be to fight fire with fire, to meet manipulation with counter-arguments, or hostility with defensiveness. Yet this approach often gives darkness the foothold it desires, drawing us into its domain and weakening the clarity and purity of our own light. The alternative is to live as a bearer of light, understanding that truth does not require constant defense or explanation. A life lived in alignment with truth, virtue, and love is the most potent response to the forces of darkness. Light does not argue with the night, it simply exists. And in its existence it reveals what is hidden and brings warmth and direction to those who seek it. In the same way, your steadfastness in living out your values can illuminate even the darkest situations, inspiring others and confronting deceit without the need for contention. This does not mean avoiding all confrontation or remaining passive in the face of injustice. Rather, it means choosing how you engage with the challenges before you. When faced with hostility or manipulation, ask yourself whether the situation truly calls for a response, or whether your silence and consistent example might speak louder. Light does not waver, it does not flicker in the presence of doubt. It remains steady, guiding others and standing as a testament to its power. The triumph of light over darkness is also a deeply personal process. Each of us carries within us a spark of this light, and it is our responsibility to nurture it. This requires self-discipline, reflection, and a commitment to growth. It means confronting the shadows within ourselves, our fears, insecurities, and failings, and allowing the light of truth to transform them. As we grow stronger in our own light, we become better equipped to face the darkness in the world, not with fear or anger, but with confidence and hope. The power of light lies in its ability to unite, heal, and illuminate. It does not seek to dominate, but to reveal, inviting others to step into its glow. By embodying this principle, you contribute to a world where darkness cannot thrive, not through force, but through the quiet, unyielding presence of truth and goodness. This is the victory of light, a triumph not of might but of essence, shining in the face of all that seeks to obscure it, and proving again and again that darkness can never overcome it. The essence of this message is simple yet profound. You are not obligated to explain yourself to forces that seek to confuse, diminish, or distort the truth within you. The battles we face both within and in the world around us are opportunities to stand firm in our values and to let our lives speak louder than words ever could. Recognizing the masks of darkness in others, mastering the strength of silence, guarding the treasure of your soul, and shining your light boldly are not just acts of resistance, but acts of profound faith and courage. Remember, your worth is not determined by the approval of others, nor is truth dependent on their understanding. Some will not see, and some will not hear, because their own struggles blind them to the light. Your duty is not to convince every heart, but to remain steadfast in living out the principles you hold dear. By doing so, you become a beacon in a world that often forgets the power of quiet, unshakable goodness. Light does not need to explain itself to darkness, it simply shines. So too must you stand firm, guarding your soul and living with clarity and purpose. In doing this, you fulfill a calling higher than debate or explanation. You become a witness to the enduring triumph of truth over lies, hope over despair, and light over the deepest shadows. Let your life be the answer that no argument can refute, and let your unwavering presence remind the world that goodness and truth are never defeated, they only grow stronger.